Is your take on him getting banned off of all social media? You think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I guess I'm not a believer in banning people from speaking, whatever's on their mind. So I mean, I don't know that that's how you fix the problem. I mean,
Right.
So I can't say that I'm in favor of banning him or anyone else from social media. I mean, I remember in college when I first started studying law and the First Amendment in particular, and issues came up about why did we protect neo-Nazis and their right to march and protest, or the KKK. Why do we protect their right to protest and, put on their stupid, hoods and what have you, right? But the reason we do it is because freedom of speech is so important and so valuable. And so when we start saying that you can't be part of it, you can't speak, you can't say what's on your mind, it's problematic. I mean, I think we need to look at what's underlying all of this stuff. Why in the world? Obviously, I'm not a Trump fan at all.
Right.
But, why in the world would we allow someone like that to come to power? Why do we embrace all the hatred and all the hysteria that he promotes? But, that to me is the bigger question. You can ban Trump from social media, and there'll be someone else that will pop up, and we need to be able to hear what people have to say and be able to say that's nonsense, and right. You had the right to say it, but beyond that, we're going to ignore it.
I think one of the bad things about it is it emboldens those people more when they're being silenced or when they're being censored. I think it makes them feel more emboldened or more like a martyr.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it gives them more fuel.
Absolutely.
To push their own narrative and to fight back.
Right. And then there'll be another forum for them to present that same information. So it's
and the argument towards it is, these are corporations, they're public companies, but they're not necessarily, you can't say it's freedom of speech because it's a private company that, just happens to be a monopoly of free speech. But it's not like legally, it's not tied into the law, right?
Right.
So that's people's argument for banning him.
So the company, because it's a private company, should be able to
do whatever they want,
ban whoever they want, right? And I get that, and I understand that, but it just seems to me that it's so much part of our lives these days. I mean, we can't get away from it, right? I mean, it's here to stay, and I mean, if it's complicated. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but it seems to me that it's a dangerous slope if these big corporations basically can steer propaganda and
right.
and say this, we're going to allow this, but we're not going to allow that.
Right. And these big and it's also scary because now these big corporations, because of how big they are and because they are basically monopolies, it's very easy for them to sway public opinion in the country and make it go whatever way they want it to go.
Sure. And the problem is everything is like snapshots or sound bites. So when there's arguments online about the election was fraudulent, and people will post and regurgitate information that's online, but
right.
None of it has any foundation. None of it has, if you dig down into it, and there's no basis in any of it.
No.
But people are receptive to it. So the people that believe it was fraud, they'll hold on to all these little sound bites and say, here's the proof, even though it doesn't prove a thing.
Right. They don't do any of their own digging, to really figure out if something's true or not, the amount of work that you actually have to do and the time you have to spend to dig into the sources and find out where that source came from, and where this all originated. The amount of work that requires is ungodly. No one's going to be able to do. No one's going to want to do that.
Right.
You just find a headline that has a nice zinger to it, and you retweet it or whatever you have to do, and that benefits the social media company because they make more money, because that's how their algorithms work. If I feed this person these headlines, they keep clicking on them, people like him are going to keep clicking on them, then we're going to make more ad revenue.
Right.
And it's just a big fucking vicious cycle of them making more money.
Absolutely.
And not thinking about the consequences for humanity and for the culture, of our country. So it's a sketchy thing, and it's tied. I feel like it's tied into people like your client, people similar to him who see these things online, people who haven't grown up with the internet. I like to use the term bullshit detectors, people that don't typically have very good bullshit detectors, people who came into the internet late or social media late, and they're typically believe things that they see and not kind of like just they see a headline and they want to share it and retweet it and not actually consider how true is this or where is this coming from.
Probably lots of people with bad bullshit detectors regardless of when they enter the world of the internet. I mean,
right.
So, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's very true. I mean, and they just dig in and it's like you can't reason with the person. You can't. There's nothing's going to change their mind that this was fraud, and nothing's going to change their mind that the Democrats are socialist and they're going to take all your money away from you and your property and your guns away from you.
Right.
So,
yeah, and then throw COVID into the whole mess, and it just makes things 10 times worse, right?
Right. Exactly.
So, your client, he's in prison right now.
He's in jail.
Okay, he's in jail, waiting for his court date.
Correct.
Okay, and how long does he have to wait?
December 17th is his sentencing.
Okay, and is there like a minimum that he's going to get, or what is he expecting to happen?
There's federal sentencing guidelines that call for a sentence that is a discretionary sentence on the part of the court. The court gives a lot of weight to what the guidelines call for, but they're not mandatory. So the expectation is that the guidelines call for a low end of 47 months in prison. My hope is that, the court's going to recognize some mitigating circumstances and agree that a much lower sentence would be appropriate.